Okay. Hello, everybody. Make sure you sign in the chat so that I know who was here. You can always sign in by the mailboxes when we have the sign out sheet up tomorrow, but people tend to forget. So it's easy to just type your name in the chat. And then you can answer the question or the prompt. It says, I wish my classroom blank, or I wish our school blank. So what is your wish? Okay. All right. Thank you for everybody who signed in already. And we'll get started and I'll go back to the chat, or if you wanted to chime in, you're welcome to. So we're doing our May staff meeting. Happy May, everybody. May the 4th be with you, as Ruby lovely put a little quote on the top of our schedule, if you noticed. That was cute by Yoda. And super staff members of the month of April. Remember, we're always talking about the month that just finished. So these people were, this person was supportive of team members, worked hard to make noticeable improvements to their classroom management strategies. They jump in whenever needed with a smile. They get on the students' level when working with them to help problem solve. They're a terrific asset to the NC Pre-K team, and they're not afraid to get their hands dirty and play with their students. This other person is able to keep a caring and thoughtful mindset when working with students in situations. A great team player and considerate of others. Speaks in an even, kind tone when working with children. Thoughtful, collaborates with others to effectively support students and their families, and seeks out and implements new learning to better classroom management strategies or approaches. And those individuals are Mr. Tristan and Miss Emma Grace. So we want to say congratulations to them and thank you for everything that they do. And we're very grateful that they are with us. That's Needs for Equality. Okay. Sorry, I just muted everybody. If you want to chime in, make sure you unmute yourself. Okay. And then you guys will have your certificates and your gift cards in your mailboxes tomorrow. Make sure you post your certificate. Be proud of that certificate. All right. All right. Okay. So welcome to Needs for Equality. Now, these individuals haven't started yet, but they will have started when we have our next meeting. So I wanted to make sure I include them. And when you meet them, bring the do a warm welcome for them when they join us. We have Miss Liberty Lee will be starting about May 21st. Jasmine Chanasulim will start May 8th. Catherine Clark, she goes by Kathy, will go to be determined because she's waiting on paperwork. Same with Meredith Deal and Ivy Coffer as July 1st, because they're moving here from what I understand. April's newsletter, Ms. Ruby put together a beautiful newsletter. It goes into when NC Pre-K enrollment began. If you're a 3s teacher or a 4s teacher and you don't have graduating students this year, please push them to enroll and apply for NC Pre-K at our site, really any site, because they're going to get free tuition. And then it's the same exact preschool program you guys implement, but it's just free to the family. And then they can enroll in our wraparound here if they need that. It's very beneficial. They'll go to building 2. We did not get to apply for building 1 or Holly Ridge for NC Pre-K yet. They're going to open up the applications in 2024. So I will do that then, and hopefully we get accepted and we can have more NC Pre-K sites. So those of you who are obtaining your bachelor's degrees and B through K certificates and credentials, you would be eligible to be a lead teacher in those classrooms. So it's something that we can promote people into, and you get all the perks and benefits of becoming a county teacher working for a private facility. Then we have this May, making sure that everyone for summer camp, we are pretty much full in Needs for Equality. Holly Ridge Quality has some more spots for school age, just a few though. And if you know people who are interested in summer camp for their school agers, they do 2 field trips every week. We do water days. They go to the splash pad. They have special guests. They get bounce houses and all kinds of fun stuff. And they do big arts and crafts projects in the classroom. So it's a lot of fun. Miss Ruby's writing all the lesson plans out, and it seems like they're going to have a wonderful summer. Our preschool students as well, they don't get to go on field trips, but they can have special visitors and really interesting lesson plans that include things that are a lot more project-based throughout the summer than what they might have normally done during the school year. Sunscreen forms. If your classroom is missing some students saying, yes, put sunscreen on my child, please make sure you send that form home. If you have parents who keep getting the form and they're not filling it out at all, you might want to just message them and say, this form is coming home. Be sure to fill it out if you want sunscreen on your child. If they don't want sunscreen on their kid or they don't care, that's fine. But we want to make sure that they know that this is available to them for PM outdoor play. If they are so inclined to prepare and bring their own sunscreen, it has to follow some standards. It can't be aerosol. It's got to be under 8 ounces in the bottle. It has to be labeled with the child's name, and it can't be expired. So it has to be up to date. And then they have to have a separate form for that, which is on the back of the other sunscreen form. Preschool graduation is coming up fast. It's going to be on June 10th, and it'll include 2 different ceremonies. We will have our NC pre-K crew. They'll go at 11, and then at 12:30, we'll have our private preschool students, and that includes Holly Ridge as well, and we'll do one collaborative ceremony for them. It should be really cute. They get little hats and tassels and custom-made shirts. I don't know if you saw the picture I sent, but they came out really adorable this year. I can't wait to see them on stage. What else we got? And then teacher accomplishments. So we have Mr. Tristan, Chelsea, Cheyenne, Nicole, and Brittany. They obtained their North Carolina Early Childhood Equivalency Certificate after successfully passing their ECE exam. So that's the exam that Ruby was speaking about. You go through a PowerPoint, you kind of learn everything you need to know for the test from that PowerPoint. And then she was able to guide those individuals into completing and passing the exam. So congratulations to them. A special shout out to Ms. Hannah Brown. Not only did she complete her bachelor's degree in record speed, by the way, she was also awarded the Early Childhood Education Student of the Year from the University of Mount Olive. Congratulations to her. They had a whole ceremony. She got an award, and Ms. Cassie was lucky enough to join her and support her at that celebration. So congratulations to everybody. Fantastic. We're just so proud because you're taking advantage of opportunities that are available to you. Not every center does this, and we're very lucky and fortunate to be able to do that and provide those opportunities. So if you're interested in something and curious about it, just ask Ruby or myself, and we'll be happy to point you in the right direction, get you signed up and registered for whatever you want to do. Teacher Appreciation Week is next week. I'm super psyched. We've had some help from our wonderful staff, like Miss Stephanie, Miss Brittany, Miss Ruby, Miss Barbie, and they've been putting things together with me for next week, and we're really excited. Miss Joyce got the catering all ready for Cancun, and parents and families are bringing in items for the breakfast brunch, breakfast buffet. So you're going to have something special every day, and I'm just really psyched because it's my favorite week of the whole year. We get to spoil you guys and show our appreciation, which we try to do all the time, but this is the opportunity where the families really have a chance to write you hand notes. They get to speak with you about how much they appreciate you and show you a token of their appreciation. I posted the favorite things list. So pretty sure I got everybody. If I missed you and you still want to turn one in, just let me know and hand me the copy. Tomorrow, I'll try to squeeze it into that scanned file that I put out for everybody, and then we'll put it in the binder with everyone else's. We are closed on May 29th because that's Memorial Day. So keep that in mind when you're speaking with families. Parents' Night Out is tomorrow, so it's very early in the month because it's Cinco de Mayo, and why not give parents an opportunity to go out on Cinco de Mayo and have some margaritas. So that's what we're offering tomorrow. Cancun next door to us at Sneads Ferry is offering all of our staff 10% off. If you'd like to go there, you just have to be sure to show your ID to them and say that you get 10% off, just to remind them, because the manager may not have told every employee there that you're going to get a discount. And I hope you take the opportunity to enjoy. And it's a Friday, so have as many margaritas as you'd like, but also keep in mind that there will be parents of our children in the same venue. So just be aware of what you're saying and what you're doing, because you are still representing us while you are out in such a close proximity to our school. New hire. Cassie says, tell Joyce to turn hers in relation to the favorite things list. So Joyce, fill out yours and I will put it on there. And she said, I'm working on it, Cassie. Okay. New hires and reminders for everyone else. I say this, I sound like a broken record. So here we go. I'm going to be real fast. Please do not park in the row at the front of the building. These spots are reserved for students and drop-off pickup only. Parking lot next to the second building, which is Cancun Mexican Restaurant, is ours as well. Please use that one. If you need to drop off your kid, what we do is we park there, we drop off our children, get in the car and go park at Cancun if you'd like to do that. If it's like a rainy day or something, or you just don't feel like walking that far with your children, that's totally fine. You are a parent and you are dropping off your children. But then think of it as you're going to work and you need to go park for work, which is at the Cancun lot, or if you're fortunate enough to get a spot against the road, which, you know, those fill up real fast. If you have any questions or concerns, or you have a medical issue and you're like, Shannon, I got to park in the front, that's fine. I'm not saying that those people should not park there, but those of us who are capable and just have to drop off children, let's make sure we drop and then go park at Cancun. Clock in at most 5 minutes before your shift starts, before and after your lunch hour, and when leaving for the day. Those minutes add up. You could actually add it up to an hour, which seems like overtime, but it's not overtime. And then Joyce has to calculate all the minutes down to the minute and then do payroll. So please make sure you are trying your best to be within those 5 minutes before and after a shift. Always ask questions. Let administration know that how you're doing. How are you doing? Remember, we're talking about self-help, self-care. You have to tell us, because if we don't know there's an issue, we can't support you through it. So whether it's something that's personal and you want us to support you in it, or something school related, we will help you in there. Be honest. Don't beat around the bush. Just be blunt with me. I don't need you to tiptoe around issues. You tell us how it is and what it is, and then we will help you fix it. If you're a flex teacher, please make sure you're always asking when you go into a room, hey, what can I do? What do you need me to do? Or if they are smart enough, they will have their teacher A, B, and C charts, and they just say, hey, I'm teacher A, I'm doing this, or right now we're doing this. And you go look at that chart and it's self-explanatory. It tells you what the teacher should be doing who's just come into the room, and your teachers see in that instance, then you can do exactly what it says. Seasoned staff members are there to support you. If you look like a lost puppy, then they will try to guide you and support you and teach you so that you are more self-sufficient when you enter classrooms and you know what to expect the next time you go in their room. If you've noticed, we try to keep our flex teachers in the same age group and the same classrooms consistently, except when we're super short-staffed. This is because then you're used to the routines, you know what to expect, and you don't have to go through that direction every time. You just walk in, you know what time it is and what they're doing every day around that time. Reminders again, lesson plans should be hanging, meaning posted, before Monday mornings. Please make sure you do that. If you're going to call out Monday and you don't have a lesson plan up and Kim Sherry walks through that door, holy cannolis, that's a violation, and it's such an easy one to avoid. That also, your substitute, whoever goes in your room will know exactly what you wanted your children to do, what your class to do, and your co-teacher will know as well. Menus and schedules should be posted when received in mailboxes on Thursday, Fridays before. Your schedules can be seasonal. Your schedules can be the same all year long. Just make sure that it's actually what you are doing throughout the day. If you go outside at 9, your schedule should not say that you go outside at 10. So just make sure you're checking on that and you're abiding by your schedule. Whiteboard should always be up to date with accurate counts. Miss Pam really needs those counts to be accurate when she walks around to do numbers. You may not even know she's come to your door and looked at your whiteboard because you have written your count, you've written your specialty milks, and whatever dietary needs that are necessary. And then she doesn't come knock and doesn't tell you that she's there, but your count is 2 or 3 kids off. We have been having to move kids a lot lately, so this is very much out of the norm. If you do know that children are moving and it's within that time frame, or Ruby and I say, can you call Miss Pam? But typically we'll be able to try to catch it in time if it's by 10:30. We usually try to wait for that 10:30 mark because that's when the cutoff of drop off is. So we know we're not going to have any more disruptions to the classroom. Lately we've been short staffed and that's been an issue, and we really appreciate everybody pitching in. It's chaos, I understand. We have to move children, we move their cubby items, their pull-ups, their sleep stuff, and then you're kind of playing catch up with this child who just joined your classroom, or children who just joined the classroom. So we definitely appreciate everything that you're doing because it adds a lot of stress to the teachers of the room, and we understand that. So we're just trying to make sure that Pam brings you the meals that are necessary for your room. So we don't want to bring children who have allergies, and we don't want to trade children who have behavioral issues, because then we're adding something to the next classroom that may already exist in their room, right? They have all these children, they might have a bunch of dietary needs already and milk, and then it gets confusing, and that's where we can have some problems, because a child may get whole milk who really need lactate, and then they got belly problems and poops everywhere. So don't move the children who have allergies or milk specific milks, and please don't move children who you know they're a tricky kid. You want to keep all your tricky kids with you because they know you best and their comfortability is with you. Check and empty your mailboxes daily. Those bad boys should be empty at the end of every day. Charge your tablets and walkie-talkies each evening. Please make sure they're plugged in. If you have a closer who's consistent in your room, they should know this. However, if you are aware that your closer isn't there for the day, maybe write a big note on your whiteboard or write a big note somewhere where that closer will see it, and make sure that they are charging things, or you do it ahead of time and just have the tablet plugged in before you walk out the door. Something so that you know when you walk in the morning, the next day, it's ready to go. Complete items from nap time list each day. Those chairs, some of them are looking real funky. They are taking their hands, their little dirty hands, and they're touching the sides of the chairs, and they're just wiping them all over the place, and then it gets gunked up. So you're probably going to need green scrubbies and magic erasers. If you need those items, ask. We will bring them to your room, and during nap, you can scrub those bad boys, and it'll look right as rain. So if you need something, let us know, because the nap time list is a great way to do one thing every day, making sure your room looks beautiful. Purses and phones should be locked in the closet. Remember, we said that the cell phone policy is coming. We're still tweaking it because we want to make sure that it's something that is logical with what occurs if they are not abiding by these policies. And we want to make sure that everything is crystal clear when we write them out for you guys. So they will be coming down the pike. We also are going to be adding some other things in our policies. So instead of having you sign a whole bunch of different addendums, we're just going to give you one big new staff handbook when we're ready. So that's why you haven't gotten it yet. But phones and smartwatches should not interfere with supervising your students. Supply list, please make sure Brittany gets them every Wednesday, by every Wednesday. And there's a little plastic bag behind that office door. It's very fancy. It's a plastic gallon Ziploc bag, and you pop it in there, make sure your room's on there. And if you need things order ahead of time, make sure that you are giving it to us 2 weeks ahead of time so that the orders actually come in time. Some people are like, oh, I'm doing this next week. Can you get this for me? I'm not in charge of Amazon. I can place that order that day, but it doesn't mean it's going to arrive. For example, I was getting your teacher appreciation gifts, and I ordered it a week and a half ago, and now they're delayed in transit. So I had to reorder some items, and then I'm going to return the things that are coming late so that everyone gets their items on time. So you never know what's going to happen. It's better to be early than late. Reimbursements must be approved prior. Please don't go on a shopping spree and say, hey, Shannon, I need $200 back because I bought all this stuff. But you know what? Shannon already had all that stuff in the shed, and we already had all the supplies in the back closet. So making sure that you get it approved beforehand is the way to go, because you don't want to be out money that you spent when we already had those items to provide to you. A classroom could have already done that whole theme, and they have everything you would need, and they're willing to share, so they're going to provide it to you. All right, this is all about scheduling stuff. So just making sure that when you go out for your lunch, and when your person who's covering you comes in, you're out of there. You go on your break, because any minute after that is actually going to set the timeline back. So we think that lunches will be done by 3, but really they wind up being done by 3:30. That's a half hour that we have to go scrounge around and find someone to come in and put that coverage in for the next portion of the closing part of the day, which is always a hectic part of the day. When we're talking about please don't restrain children, we've gone through this many times, making sure that you keep yourself and other children safe. So if you have a child who's having a tantrum and you know that they are potentially going to harm another child, you just want to separate all the other kids away from that one child. And if they are near some hard furniture, maybe you move the hard furniture. But if you have to physically pick that child up and they're flailing, you're at risk for harming yourself or that child. So making sure that you make some smart decisions when you're working with those children. Always call for admin on the walkie if you know if it's a situation that you need assistance for, especially if your co-teacher's not in that day and it's just you, you're going to need some backup. So don't forget to walkie us. Admin will take over the situation and you can keep the other students safe, or vice versa. If you want to keep that relationship with that child and then we take the other children out or wherever we're going to take them, we'll do that as well. And the incident will be documented and we'll state that admin was called and what we did to intervene. Oh, and we'll meet with parents if it comes to that, which we've had to do, and we've had to dismiss quite a few this year because the incidents got too severe and children were getting severely injured. So we want to make sure that everyone stays safe. The end of the day, this is new for today, so please pay close attention. We want to make sure diaper changes are completed before the last lead or co-teacher of the classroom leave. So however you're scheduled in your classroom, there's always going to be one consistent teacher from that classroom there till about 4:30, 5 o'clock. That's usually the time when the leads or the co-teachers leave. And then the flex teachers take over. Please make sure that the flex teachers are just there to change diapers from 4:30 to 6 o'clock as needed, or at the 2-hour mark, which we typically do. And it's supposed to be before the 2-hour mark. If licensing comes, they always say 2 hours is too late. So like 1 hour and 59 minutes is the limit for changing the next diaper. Every classroom has a lead or a co-teacher who is present until at least 4:30, about 4:30, except for room 9. Ms. Courtney has to leave at 4 and she doesn't have a partner right now. So she would be the exception to the rule. Wipe noses and faces before each diaper change. Please make sure you're keeping those faces clean. When they come in, they may not come in clean. They may come in like they just rolled out of bed. A kid has snot all over their face. They might have toothpaste on their face, but we're keeping them clean. So just take one of their wipes and wipe their face before you start changing the diaper. And it's just, it makes them feel good and it makes the parents feel good that they're coming home to a child, or they're coming back to school with a child who is fresh and clean. They may not send them that way. Send children home as clean, as dry as can be. Parents imagine how they receive their child, of how they were the entire day. So they might have a dirty snot face when they pick them up, food around their mouths, dirty diaper, soiled clothing. And those are big deals to parents, especially those who are the worry warts, and they'll come in and they'll see, oh, this is cereal from this morning, or that might be banana from this morning. So that means their child's face wasn't wiped from the morning until the evening when they picked them up. So making sure you're taking good care of those kids. A crying, just like this, and we can't prevent this from happening, but a crying child who's dropped off and then they're crying when they get picked up, that parent's perception, and we know better, but a lot of parents don't, that they were just crying all day. That's how their mindset works. And that makes parents become those worry warts because they're just assuming their child was crying from drop off to pick up, when in fact, we know they had a wonderful day. They were playing, but at the time of pickup, they're tired again. They're ready to go home, get a shower, and go to bed. But that's just how they perceive it when parents come. The morning food stains on the face, like I said. So we just want to make sure we wipe those mouths and faces right before the diaper change. And even when you're outside playing before pickup time, check out those faces, check those butts, make sure everybody is as dry as can be and as clean as can be. Take some in to do diaper changes. Everyone's very good at this. You have ratio outside and then you take some to do diaper changes. So as the evening goes on, you're only going to take in 2 or 3 at a time, and the rest will be outside playing. This is about lifting them. Okay, so closers, checklist, just please make sure, and you're doing a fantastic job, by the way. I've seen some very clean playgrounds, but there's still those 1 or 2 that you can tell that weren't picked up at the end of the day before, and there's cups everywhere, and there's wipes and tissues that blew around from the garbage can because of the wind. So please make sure you check the playground when you're closing it down. If you're the person who's left with the children on the playground in the evenings, especially, just pick up the garbage bag and bring it in with you when you're closing up the playground. That way we know none of that is going to become debris all over the playground, and it's nice and clean when we come back the morning after. Okay. Scheduling time off. This has been, well, it's becoming summertime. So I think a lot of people want to take more time off, which is you're totally entitled to do that. We ask that if you know you're going to be sick 2 weeks from now, that you put in the request 2 or more weeks prior to that. If you want a mental health day and you know you're going to need one, put in the request 2 or more weeks before, because the night before or the morning of, it's a mad rush and it's chaos. So if you can prevent that, that would be fantastic. Please be considerate of the calendar. If you look at the calendar for May, it is packed, and the calendar for June is pretty much packed. So if you know you have to do this important doctor's appointment and somebody else is already off, maybe you can trade shifts with them. You can trade a day off with them and say, hey, would you mind switching this? Since yours isn't an important day off, it's, maybe they need to do something and they can switch the day. You never know, but to make that effort, it goes a long way with your coworkers, because then it's reciprocal. If your co-teacher is out that day and you want to be out the same day, please choose a different day or speak with them about it, because that means both teachers from the classroom are out that day. That means someone who's not used to your routine and expectations is doing it without any support from a co-teacher or a lead. And we want to keep consistency for our students. We want you to come back to a neater classroom and one that's a less post-stressed classroom, because the day before, if you were both out, you can only imagine what the next day is going to be like, because you're picking up the pieces, you're putting out fires. Parents are asking, well, what did this happen? Why didn't they go home with this? I mean, so many things happen just because 2 people are out, but it's because 2 people are out from the same classroom. So please try to avoid that as much as possible. I understand there might be a time when it's unavoidable, but if it's a doctor's appointment and you know your co-teacher has a doctor's appointment that day, just do it the next day. That way it's the same consistent schedule. There's someone in the room who knows the routine and the kids and can make them feel comfortable with the consistency that they're used to. Sub-plans for the lead teachers, from the lead teachers. This, I mean, we're not a public school, but when I was teaching, I took off as little as possible because I hated writing sub-plans. I mean, they would wind up being 6 pages long. It was tedious. I was like, I'll just have the flu. It's fine. And I went to work. But obviously not everyone's like that. So if you, and I'm not saying write 6 pages, but if you know you're going to be out, it is a pre-planned day or week off. Make sure your lesson plan is posted. Your copies, or at least sheets that should be copied, are ready for your subs. And if it's your co-teacher, they know what's expected the days that you're going to be out. So that way it's ready to go and you have less stress about what's going on in your classroom, because you know you set them up for success. And if there's too many absences, which just a couple people are on this, in this section, you need a doctor's note, because if people are sick many times and that's their reasoning for being out and it's been many absences, we're going to start to ask for a doctor's note, especially if you're saying you're sick for so many days, so many times. Then it might become write-ups, and then we might go to dismissal. If you noticed some coworkers were here and then they're no longer here, and some of them had to do with frequent absences, your coworkers depend on you. They rely on you to be there for support for them and for the students of the classroom. So when that support is lacking and when there's just absent, then we're struggling to find someone else to go in there, or we're moving half the class to other classrooms, and it just becomes something that we're not a fan of. It doesn't match what our mission is. So please make sure you're considerate and you're thinking about the kids in the class, your co-teacher. And I understand things can be unavoidable. I totally do. Things happen. But as much as we can try to prevent it from happening, please do. Okay. This is all about incident reports. Everybody who's been here for at least a month knows the deal about incident reports. If you don't know how to write an incident report yet, please ask a seasoned teacher to guide you when you write your first one. That way you get it done right and you know what's expected. Making sure that biting reports are in orange, and the non-injuries, we've been trying to do red, but I think I ran out of red. So I'll buy some more red paper and we're going to copy them in those so that the parents see the color when they pick up and they know that it has to be signed. Okay. Overtime schedules, working through lunch.
Can I just add one more thing to that?
Yes.
I know the toddler rooms are using biting rosters, for lack of a better word, to try and keep track of those that are biting regularly. We can put on it what time that they're biting, the days that they're biting, just to see if there's any pattern to make it possibly more avoidable, but also to give us a better idea of how many times kids are biting on a regular basis and like that. So if anybody else has rooms where they have children that are biting on a somewhat regular basis, please ask for one of those rosters so that you can also chart those kids and we can get an idea of what's going on and see what we can do to possibly make it better or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, agreed. And it came about because there were parents who saying, my child's been bit 3 times in the past 2 weeks. So because the teachers and administration and the parents weren't all on the same page, we weren't able to address it as soon as we would like to have done. So this keeps it more, everything's recorded. And then it's able to use when we meet with the parents. So we can say, actually, it was within a whole month. They were bit 3 times. We understand that's still horrible, but this is the deal. And this is what we're going to do to resolve it and fix the issue. And we always go through cycles of biters. So parents who are new to this situation are appalled and shocked, where we're like, yeah, we've done this 4 times a year, every year, and we work through it. The teachers work through it, and this is what we're used to doing. So if you need support or you need help with biters, please let us know, and we'll work with you in your class and that specific child and their family. And it's a bite log, yeah. So we have a bite log, like Miss Amy said, but Amy said parents had to sign it in the book. So that's an extra step. Where our bite reports, we have the parents sign the bite reports. The bite log is more for the classrooms to keep a record of it. So admin can quickly look at the name and the frequency of bites for each child, if they've been bitten or if they're a biter. So yeah, it's definitely helpful to have that.
It also helps us to see if children are getting bit at, the same time on a regular basis. Maybe it's right before lunch and people didn't even really put it together before, but they're just hungry.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So
They're
it
just
gives us
hungry.
more information to try and see ways that we might be able to avoid it. If we
Right.
know that there are certain times, we can make sure they have teething rings or whatever the case may be. It just, the more information we have, the easier it is for us to be able to possibly do something about it.
Yeah, it's really important to find out what those triggers are, like Joyce was saying, because every kid's different. And the ones that are the most difficult is when you can't find the trigger. They're unprovoked attacks. So we got to work our hardest with those kids. Okay, this is about overtime. We go about it all the time. But if you get asked to work overtime, then fantastic. Please take advantage of it. But don't assume that because you go over the 40 hours, there will be overtime pay. So you do have to make sure there's that line that if you choose to stay an extra hour or do something else, it's just not in our budget. We can't say, hey, you stayed over 2 hours, so we're gonna give you overtime last time. If it's requested by admin, that's definitely a time we're going to give you that overtime pay. And then also keep in mind, if you're under the 40 hours and you wind up doing an extra hour of work one day, that just gets added to the time you've accumulated that pay period. So if you're at 36 hours and you work an extra hour another day, it just becomes 37 hours. It doesn't become 36 plus overtime pay. So just so you keep in mind, it has to be over the 40 hours. Okay, reminder about professionalism. So I saw this on Instagram and it's very quick. So just listen.
Ladies, when another woman talks bad about you for no reason at all, don't be so quick to clap back. Pray for that woman. She sees something in you that she doesn't see in her.
That she doesn't see in herself. Got cut off. But I thought that was quick and a great message that it happens in a workplace full of women and one man. And it's not a necessarily jealousy thing. It's just a way to start conversations sometimes. And people feel that gossip is a good way to initiate conversation. So before you do share information about someone else, just think about it for a minute. And if the shoe was on the other foot, as they say. So nothing crazy is going on, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody saw that clip. Okay. So the training today, we're going to do a nice quick one, is about transitions. I've showed some of these videos or part of these videos before, so I'm not going to go into showing them all over again, but they are available for you on the PowerPoint. So if you wanted to watch some more and get some good tips from the videos, you are welcome to go into the PowerPoint and watch them. They are here for you, and they're all on YouTube. So this is about transitions. And this is what I took from the video. So that I kind of did all the work for us, and I want to go over what's important to us at our centers. So before the transitions, now this goes for all age groups. If you have children who are moving on their own from one situation to another, they are transitioning. So guiding those children and teaching them about transitions and expectations is something that it's a skill that has to be taught, right? They don't know it initially, they don't know it independently, and that's our job, is to teach it to them. So signal with a song or chant that is special to each transition. One for lining up, one for sitting on the carpet, one for preparing for lunch, nap, or another activity that you have them set up. The children practice these chants or songs, and they know once you start singing that song or that chant, it's time for this. Picture cues are a big deal for little ones, making sure that they see, they visualize what's expected and what's coming. So those visual schedules are very helpful in ages 2 and up, even toddlers. I mean, they can see a picture and know that a kid eating means that lunchtime is coming. So if you show them kids playing outside, kids eating, kids sleeping, they know what's happening in sequential order and what's expected. Picture cues or visual supports on schedules or on cards so that you show them. So you can even hold up a card and okay, and you start your chant just to get them in the groove of knowing what that initiates. Specific in what you expect. Be very specific. Exactly where or what to do and what they should do after the transition. So you are explicit with your children on what you want to see and how they should do it. And with a lot of practice, that you won't need to be as explicit anymore and explain as much and model as much. But all of that work in the beginning is going to get them on the right path. So if you want them to walk to the sink, some people say, go wash your hands. But little Shannon doesn't know that she has to walk to the sink to wash her hands. Little Shannon's going to go run to the sink, or I'm going to crawl and, spin around and whack some buddies on my way over to the sink. So just using that word, walk to the sink and wash your hands, that might signal to a child of the one expectation you have in there that wasn't mentioned before is that you want them to walk there. You can say tiptoe to the sink and wash your hands. You can say crab walk. I don't know what you want to do, but telling them and being explicit, it also makes it fun for them too. And sit at your chair and join with Mighty Minutes activity. We have those Mighty Minute cards from Teaching Strategies. Each card has a 1 or 2 minute activity that you can use during transition times. They're great. They're easy for kids to follow, and they're easy for teachers to implement, and they have all the ideas for you already. So if you want Mighty Minutes cards, just let us know and we'll get you a copy or a set of them. The fewest directions possible. Just think about when your students are 2, they can usually follow 2-step directions. When your students are age 3, they can follow 3-step directions, and so on and so forth. Generally speaking, you'll have those who you could rattle off a bunch of stuff and they get it all done and they're 2 years old. You could have those 4-year-olds who you literally have to tell them one thing at a time and show them what's expected. And then eventually they'll get it. I will definitely get you Mighty Minutes, Cassie. I'm glad you want to use it. So plan what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. It's really important for the before transition. You might think it's really silly right now to plan before you tell kids to line up at the door to go outside. But if you have a set plan and you and your co-teacher are on the same page, you have your stations that you're going to be at in the classroom, you'll notice that it runs a lot smoother with that plan in action than if you were to just say, okay, go line up at the door for outside time. You're going to have mass chaos. And I'm sure you've experienced it if you were new in the classroom and then you kind of got into your routine and showed your students what you expected. Make sure you know what chant you're going to sing or play the music on your Alexa, what you want it to play and how you want them to line up. Maybe you want them to twirl over to the line. Maybe you want them to, maybe they will crawl over to line. Whatever they're going to do, making it fun is something that will change it up for them. And have strategic placement. And this is a big deal. Like I was saying, stations in the classroom. They're not only outdoors when your kids are playing, you can have strategic placement in the classroom with both teachers. We are fortunate enough to have rooms that get, not every room has them right now, but 2 teachers, 2 adults. So one adult can be by the playground door waiting for children, getting them engaged when they line up so they're not sitting or standing doing nothing. They're lining up and they're doing a mighty minutes once they get to line up. And then the teacher over there by the sink is monitoring the children who are finishing up pottying and doing what they need to do so they can line up at the door with the other teacher and their line. The teacher by the sink and the potty, if they're not helping children do those things, maybe they're doing something that's engaging from Mighty Minutes or something that's quiet and setting up an example for the children so that they have a modeled example of what's expected when they go over to the playground. During transitions. So talk about what positives you notice. Oh, I see Shannon's putting on all the cars in the, putting all the cars in the vehicles bin all by herself. She's doing a great job cleaning up those cars. Wow, she's cleaning them up so quickly, all by herself. Cassie, can you help Shannon clean up those cars and be a good friend? And then Cassie comes over and she wants to be a good friend. Just that initiation of positive talk, it makes a big deal, especially with the kids 3 and up. They get the hint that they want to be part of that positive conversation. Ask students who look lost or unfocused to do something specific. So I'm over there and I'm playing something totally different. I'm playing with a piece of lint, whatever I'm doing, you're going to gain my attention by saying my name. Shannon, can you please put all the vehicles in the bin? You gave me a purpose. You can even say, can you tiptoe over and put all the vehicles in the bin? So you gave me a way to get there and a purpose. And Ruby, will you please help Shannon? So you gave Ruby a job and we're going to be partners in crime and put those vehicles back in the bin. So then you give us that positive praise when we're all done or when we initiate the job. So we get to the bin and we start putting vehicles in. I love how you are focused on putting those vehicles. I mean, they're going to be pumped up and they're going to want to do it to make that. They just like to please adults. I mean, there's no other way around it. They love to make us happy. They love to make each other happy. And that makes them feel good. It's human nature to want to appease others. So Kayla said, we sing, I see name cleaning up, I see name cleaning up. Thank you, name, to the tune of London Bridge, and they all jump in to clean. That's fantastic. So you have a positive song that also initiates the transition, and then they're naming the child for the positive reinforcement. And then they can probably name other children once they start joining in as well. So I love that. Okay. Thank you. Tristan said that Kayla's and Amy's strategy works really well, and he's seen it firsthand. So thank you, Tristan. And Miss Cassie, thank you. I need a lot of help cleaning up this house, by the way. Okay, group students, big deal. Joyce has made this suggestion, Ruby, Amber, but it's hard to think of it in the moment. So the during transition, this can be part of your before planning part where you want to group certain children, maybe Miss Little Shannon over here and Miss Little Cassie over here, they butt heads. You don't want them cleaning in the same space. So you're going to group your friends when they go in transition. Shannon's going to be cleaning over here. Cassie's going to be in charge of this group over here. And then you know that they are going to be focused. They can be the leaders of the group and they're going to guide their partners in cleaning. So you just want to make sure kids have a purpose and you are strategic in how you're grouping them. Another thing about bringing students in, a lot has to do with diapering. It's overwhelming to bring all your kids in and try to wash hands, diaper, get everybody ready all at the same time. And that's chaos. That must be so stressful. So if you can keep ratio outside and take the extras inside to do diapering, wash hands, and then you say, okay, I can take 2 more, diapering, wash hands, until you reach ratio inside, then the rest come inside. And you can switch up the groups every day. It doesn't have to be the same kids who have to go in first every day, but that routine and that expectation of your students, this is what we do when we come in here. Then you also have a mighty minutes, or you have something engaging for them to do when they get inside and they've been diapered and their hands have been washed. Then you should notice that it's a lot smoother. Playing Alexa is not a transition activity, by the way. A lot of people say, Alexa, play, toddler tunes or play the Itsy Bitsy Spider. because Alexa's singing doesn't mean your kids are going to become engaged. You really need to chime in. You got to work on that singing voice. You got to get in, throw some rhymes out, some finger games. They always do like those finger puppet games. People are big on those, but something where you're involved. Sing at the top of your lungs while you're changing diapers and get the other kids to sing with you or to dance, and you're talking about the moves that they're making. But just playing Alexa isn't enough, I promise. But you chiming in what's happening, that's going to be supportive. Cassie says, yes, I do the same. Pointing out our friends' names makes others want to join in and have their names shouted out. Definitely. They just want to be noticed and recognized. It's human nature. We want to be acknowledged. Okay. Sing or play music during the transition. For example, Miss Nicole at Holly Ridge Quality, she uses the choo-choo train, and it's the same choo-choo train song, tune every time. So the kids know exactly what to expect. She tells them to line up like a choo-choo train. So they have their hands on each other's shoulders. I've seen other teachers do this as well. And they choo-choo their way from her classroom, which is kind of far, all the way to the outdoor playground. And they do a great job. She praises the ones that she sees doing the right thing. She makes sure that she's verbal when she's talking them through. This is how we walk. You can march. You have your hands on your friend's shoulders. I love to see that you're holding them gently. You're walking right behind them. You're looking forward. All these things will get the other friends to be like, oh yeah, I got to do that too. The little buddy who doesn't hear you, they're probably going to need some hand holding. So they might need modeling. They might need you to stand right next to them when they're choo-chooing out the door until they get it on their own. And that's okay. There's going to be those students who need that extra support, and that's what you're there for. The ones who are independent, they can also guide that student. Let them be the teacher and the partner for that child. Have them join them when they're cleaning up and they're guiding that child on how to put the vehicles in the bin, because that child needs that support and this other child is a pro. So they're going to feel very important when they're doing it. Okay, engage the other students who are waiting to take part in the transition. Like I said, finger play, songs, Mighty Minutes, and asking open-ended questions about what you just did or what they're going to be doing later, or something about a story that you're reading, and ask those open-ended questions. After transition, this is also just as important. You want to praise those students who went without incident. You want to highlight them, what they did that was fantastic. So just make sure you are aware and you're kind of observing what's occurring so that you know who to highlight and what they actually did. You can have the whole class give them a clap every time you acknowledge something they did. You can have the child give themselves a pat on the back, which I used to do with my fourth graders. You could put a sticker on their hand, whatever you're going to do to make sure that they feel acknowledged so that they continue that behavior the next time. And you want to balance the type of activities of active teacher control and passive student control. So what that means is you go outside, the students, they're doing all their fun stuff outside. You come inside, that's teacher guided circle time. Then you do student guided center time, right? They get free choice. So alternating those type of activities where the teacher kind of directs and has a teacher related activity to a student kind of free choice. I get to do what I want to do within limits activity. That's going to keep them a little more on track and less resistant. Individual supports for students who need it. So you're going to have those little kids who need that extra guidance, who need the hand holding. So maybe they're the ones who get the if-then charts or the choice board charts. And that Twinkle website that I shared with you, and I'll share with you again, that has all of it. They have all the free resources that you need on that website. So don't recreate it. Don't go spending money on Teachers Pay Teachers. It's all on Twinkle. You may not like the style, but it is exactly what you need. And then you want to approach your students who need this support before, give them that preemptive explanation of what is about to occur. We're going to go line up outside time. We're going to use potty, wash hands, and go line up. Wait for your name to be called. Just that in itself will get that student prepared mentally that this transition is coming up. Visual timers are very useful. If you have one of those timers that we purchased, some of the visual ones, they show you the color is running out. Some of your kids need that. They need to see it. So if you would like one, or you want to know where there is one available, we can go get it from storage. I think we have a bunch in the storage closet. And you want to revisit the procedures. If the transition did not go according to plan, which is going to happen a lot in early childhood education, you want to make it a teachable moment. And you can just stop right there and teach them. You and your co-teacher model it. Pretend they're a student. The kids are going to get a kick out of it, and call little Miss Shannon to go up, and Miss Shannon, you're going to go tiptoe over to the sink and wash hands, and then I go do it. But maybe I do something and I mess it up. And then my teacher, co-teacher, asked the class, what should Miss Shannon have done differently? And then maybe they'll call it out, they'll catch it, and they'll know that's not what is expected. So you always want to make sure that you're revisiting and you're going back over it with them so they know what's expected the next time or in the moment. Okay, so this is another video that I got this information from. It's here. I say start at 13 minutes in because she does a lot of rambling before. So if you want to watch this one, just start at 13 minutes in. This is Attention Grabbers by Dr. Jean. She's adorable old lady and I love it. And she's got some great attention grabbers. She sings, she's got rhymes for you. I don't know if you've heard of her, but this video is here. She's got a ton of videos online. This is just one of them. And they're very short and sweet. Chloe said she's gonna look at her videos today. So here's one you can just click on when I post the PowerPoint. And they're cute. I love them. The kids will remember the words in no time. I mean, they're so easy. And then the trainings, we always talk about training. You know what, I'm gonna play some of hers just for a second. She's so cute.
That doesn't work very well, does it? I've got some attention grabbers that I use with children that you're going to love. One of my favorite ones is Tootsie Roll Lollipop. We've been talking, now let's stop. Let me do that with you. Tootsie Roll Lollipop. We've been talking, now let's stop. Let's do it together. Tootsie Roll Lollipop. We've been talking, now let's stop. And you just continue to do that until children are all doing it with you and paying attention. Another one that works really well is Hocus Pocus. Boys and girls, whenever I go, Hocus Pocus, I want you to put your focus goggles on and go, everybody focus. Here we go. Hocus Pocus. Everybody focus. Now keep your focus goggles on. Look at the front of this book. What do you think this story is about? Or look at this shape. What can you tell me about the number of sides this shape has?
Okay, so I mean, she goes on and on. She's got some great ideas and they're short and sweet. So it's definitely something to look at if you don't have many ideas of your own. You can be consistent and have the same things every time, which is great for the itty bitty ones, but our pre-K students, they might get bored after a month or two of the same attention grabber. So you might want to change it up. Another thing to keep in mind, and some of us don't know that we do this, is using a monotone voice. It doesn't fly. It does not fly for 0 to 5. I'm going to tell you right now. You got to sound excited and exciting. So if you need to work on your singing voice and you just belt it out, it doesn't matter how you hit those notes. I don't care if you hit them, but they care if you're excited, because that makes all the difference to them. If you say, Hocus Pocus, I mean, come on, you got to be excited about it. You're teaching 0 to 5. So get in the groove and you can practice in front of the mirror. Don't be afraid to be silly in front of your kids because they're going to love it. They're going to be engaged and you will notice a world of difference when these strategies are implemented during transitions, before, during, and after. Don't forget, there's 3 parts. All right. So this is all normal stuff about the trainings that have to get done. Oops, sorry, everybody. So make sure you finish your contact hours. Every year, you got to do contact hours. One thing to keep in mind is with EDU 119, you would have taken and gotten credit for those 3 credits, right? And that would have transferred onto your contact hours for DCDEE. If you took the test out, and you finished that and you got the equivalency of EDU 119, that does not give you contact hours. So if you needed to do 20 contact hours and you test it out, you still have to do 20 contact hours. So please keep that in mind. Those who do the actual course and course work, the college course, you are good. You are golden because those count towards your hours. So just so everybody knows, it doesn't replace the contact hours. It is just an equivalency to testing out of EDU 119. You still have to go do contact hours. So you'd have to go through one place, through Southwestern Child Development, any of those, and we can give you other resources to get them done, but those are the online ones are Southwestern Child Development, and they're self-paced. So you can do it in your pajamas at home. Those are great. And Cassie asks, is there a website I can see all the trainings I currently have to do, or just need to look at my employee file? Thanks. Maybe Ruby and I in the next maybe 2 weeks or so, we'll get you those little slips. She's really good about getting those slips to you. And if you notice it's colored yellow or red, then it needs to be done. If it's green, you're good. And then she wrote on somebody's today, the contact hour. So I think Miss Ruby's actually starting to work on those, but I will hopefully be able to assist her, and then you'll get them soon. Okay. And then health and safety trainings are through Moodle. Remember, you have 6 weeks. So we like it within 6 weeks, but some people don't get them done then. So try your best to get it done. Fire safety is every year. Please make sure you're doing fire safety every year. It's on Southwestern Child Development Commission, so you can do it at your own pace at home. You just have to make sure you do it every year. And then the SIDS courses, they are doing some online. If you'd like to do one online and you're due for one, Ruby and I can get you in contact with the woman who does them through Facebook. And NC Feld, you're only required to do it in the first year, and it's once your entire time working in this field. So just make sure that you line that up if you are a first year with us. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Oh, and CPR with us is free. So the next CPR course Ruby or I will do, and it'll be either on a Saturday or after work one day. If you're a renewal, we try to grab you, do your renewal. That way you don't have to sit through a 4-hour course. All right. I hope everybody night, love you, has a wonderful evening. And if you have any questions, ask us. We have an open door policy. Just like Joy says, if we don't know there's a problem, we cannot help you solve it. So please make sure you come see us. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.